National Guardsman has been arrested for conspiring to spy on the U.S. military for Russian sources. The U.S. Department of Justice says tonight 28-year-old Canyon Amaris was indicted for attempted violation of the Export Control Reform Act. The DOJ says Amaris had been in communication with someone he thought to be a Russian intelligence agent. In that person's presence, Amaris allegedly signed a pledge confirming his covert relationship with the supposed agent, agreed to photograph Fort Riley, and acquired a helicopter radio he intended to illegally send out of the country.
He thought he was working for the Russian intelligence. He photographed Fort Riley and tried to ship a military radio overseas and ended up in handcuffs. This isn't a movie. It's a real story of how a U.S. Guardsman got caught helping Russia. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Military Insider. All right, a U.S. Army National Guardsman faces federal charges after trying to send a military helicopter radio to Russia and secretly photographing Fort Riley for what he believed were Russian intelligence agents. This story exposes how insider threats can happen inside America's own ranks. Okay, so Canyon Anthony Amaris, 28, of the Kansas National Guard, was arrested and indicted on October 28 after a sting by federal agents. He thought he was working with Russian intelligence agents and they were the FBI. Prosecutors say Amaris thought he was helping Russia when he mailed a helicopter radio, a Garmin GTR 205, overseas. What he didn't know, Russian agents he was working with were undercover FBI. All right, let's jump right into the military times here. Army Guardsman indicted for trying to ship military radio to Russia. All right, let's read the full story here together. Federal authorities arrested a 28-year-old Army National Guardsman for allegedly attempting to send a military radio to Russia and photograph Fort Riley, Kansas, for who he believed were Russian agents. This guy, oh my God, he thought he was working with Russian agents and he was working with the FBI. Is he really that dumb? Kansas National Guard Specialist Canyon Anthony Amaris first contacted the Russian government in 2024. Well, actually, he did contact the Russian government, according to court documents. All right, let's see. On February 27, 2025, he traveled from New Mexico to Overland Park, Kansas, and met with undercover federal agents posing as Russian intelligence service agents. During the meeting, Amaris signed a one-page document that confirmed his relationship with the Russian intelligence service, his indictment says. The indictment goes on to say Amaris agreed to enter Fort Riley and photograph the installation, home to the Army's 1st Infantry Division, Big Red 1, believing it would benefit the Russian government. Oh my God, this guy. During the same meeting in February, the undercover agent gave Amaris thousands of dollars in cash for him to purchase a Garmin GTR 205 radio using helicopters. The indictment reads, the radio is under export controls and not allowed to be shipped to Russia. This is the Garmin 205 for those of you that don't know. It's pretty much like a helicopter radio. All right, so the agents gave him thousands of dollars in cash. I remember my last video about another service member that got caught and arrested trying to sell information to China. And I remember I bring up a very good point. Why these service members are doing this? Do you think they're not getting paid enough? Do you think they think this is part of a side hustle to sell information to foreign countries? What's going on within our military? Let me know in the comments. I want to read you all. All right, let's continue on. Authorities allege that Amaris purchased the radio in March and mailed it to a post office in Junction City, Kansas, the town closest to Fort Riley. On March 20th, he traveled from New Mexico to Kansas, retrieved the package with the undercover agents, and shipped it to a mailing address in Romania, believing it would be diverted to Russia. After shipping the package, Amaris went to Fort Riley and, while being recorded by undercover agents, photographed an installation at Fort Riley that he understood contained sensitive military technology, according to court documents. Okay, so he sent those photos to undercover agents the same day. Authorities arrested Amaris on October 28. He made his initial appearance in U.S. District Court on Thursday and pleaded not guilty to the charge. So this guy pleaded not guilty. Why? He thinks he can, do you think he can appeal? Do you think he'll get, I don't know. I think he will not get out of it. I was looking into the, how many years they're going to give him, but I couldn't find anything. So I think the hearing was last Thursday, so probably by this week we'll see something else, and I'll bring it back to you guys. But as of right now, let me know in the comments what you guys think, what is going on in the military, why these service members are doing this type of stuff, selling information to foreign countries. Do you think they're not getting paid enough? Do you think they trying to get a side hustle, a easy side hustle that will cost them their career, that will cost them their careers and possible time in jail? All right, let's see what we got here this is directly from the U.S. Army. National Guardsman arrested and charged with the export violation. This was October 30th. All right, Canyon Anthony Amaris, 28, of Alamogordo, New Mexico, was arrested on October 28 in connection with his indictment for attempted violation of the Export Control Reform Act. Amaris will make his initial appearance today in federal court in the District of Kansas at 1:30 p.m. Central Time. Remember, he was caught on the 28th, which was last week, and his appearance was last week on, October 30th, on Thursday. So this is pretty much ongoing. According to the indictment, in February 2025, at an in-person meeting between Amaris and some he believed to be Russian intelligence agents, Amaris signed a one-page agreement in order to confirm his covert relationship with a Russian intelligence service. He was under the impression that those agents were Russian intelligence undercover agents, but they were not. They were FBI agents. Amaris, where we at? Let me see. Okay, in addition, as part of that relationship, Amaris agreed to photograph a military installation on Fort Riley, Kansas, and to procure a helicopter radio for use by the Russian military. In March 2025, after purchasing the helicopter radio, Amaris traveled to Kansas in order to retrieve the radio and export it to a purported recipient in Romania. In doing so, Amaris communicated with a person he believed to be a Russian intelligence agent and confirmed his understanding that the radio would in fact be illegally diverted to Russia. Pursuant to a court-authorized search, investigators recovered the radio that Amaris had sought to illegally export to Russia under U.S. export laws and regulation. The export of this controlled item without a license from the U.S. Department of Commerce was unlawful. Amaris understood that his shipment of the radio abroad was illegal and told the person he believed to be a Russian intelligence agent that he had researched export regulation in anticipation of their meeting in February 25. So he knew it was illegal to export that kind of radio, and he also did a research on export regulation in anticipation of their meeting with the FBI agent. So he did the homework, and he thought he was not going to get caught. But eventually he was. The FBI Kansas City field office is investigating the case with valuable assistance from the U.S. Army Counterintelligence Command, the Kansas City National Guard, the Department of Commerce, Bureau of Industry and Security, and the U.S. Postal Inspection Service. Assistant U.S. Attorney Scott Rask and of the District of Kansas and Trial Attorney David Ryan of the National Security Division, Counterintelligence and Export Control are prosecuting the case. All right, let me know in the comments what do you guys think about this guy right here. We have another threat within the military service. I think this is the second one I covered this week. Last week I covered one that was trying to sell information to China, and now this week we have this one trying to ship a helicopter radio to Russia. What's going on? Do you think they're not getting paid enough? Do you think they are looking for a easy side hustle? I don't know, but it's very sad to see this within our military, okay? Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this. Make sure you hit that like, you hit that subscribe button. It really help the channel out. Thank you so much for your support, and we'll see you on the next one. Stay safe.